we'll go straight to questions for Coach.
Buzz, your defense was so effective in the first half. What did Florida State do better and kind of figure out during the second half?
I thought to start the second half for sure, they were able to get it to the paint much more effectively. I think that bled into the second media timeout as well. We were a little discombobulated because of them on both ends of the floor. We didn't get to the paint enough. We allowed them to the paint. Ended up creating rotation for us, which led to fouls. So.
Coach, in the first half, 14-point lead, and then was it just a matter of the shooting percentage fell off in the second half?
Yeah, we shot 2% worse in the second half than we did the first half. So I don't know that the sample size is enough to say that, but 2% is 2%. I just think that when we are in rotation, not only will we tend to foul, I think they were averaging 21.5 free throws per game. And in the first half, I don't know how many they had. But for our group currently, that's really important because we can't absorb foul trouble. And foul trouble for any team is when you get in rotation. I thought we did a good job. We're trying to get them to play later in the clock, maybe. We want their volume of shots to be trending towards threes, so 36 out of 58, that's a good percentage. But that first 7 to 8 game minutes in the second half, we were just completely out of sorts, and it was because of them for sure.
Second straight year, you come down to the Sunshine State last week of the season.
Yeah.
Double bye and leave empty-handed. Considering you're up at 14 at halftime, how disappointing or how frustrating is it to not get that lead here with a bye this time?
I know you know where we were when we got here. I think it's pretty remarkable that in year 4 we would play for the 4th seed in the best league in the country. And then considering all that's transpired this season, to have played the way that we've played over the last 9 games, it's scarred my heart in a good way. I just, despite all that happened in the first 7 to 9 minutes of the game, the fight and the character in which we fight and the togetherness is as good as I've ever seen. I think getting to that point is probably a little harder. You've probably seen it in your years as a writer, but I think getting there is really hard. And finishing, obviously, is even harder.
Because Florida State has found a way to win a lot of games late. This is a game you guys sent it to overtime, and then they're resilient again. Is that the numbers of seniors you attribute that to?
I think that helps. I mean, you're always only as good as your returning players. I think most coaches would say that. They're for sure chronologically the oldest team in the league, and they're also the oldest team relative to class. Love their team. I mean, they're going to play 10 high major players. They're very effective defensively, contest every dribble, contest every pass, and if you can get past that first line, it's hard to still get a shot off against 21 or 25. I think 14 has really changed his game, and I think some of the things that they're running now, I wouldn't necessarily say they're new, but they're more frequent. 25 is such a hard guard because can you guard him one-on-one without fouling? Do you have to trap the post? When you trap the post, now you're in rotation. I think 3, maybe statistically it's not appealing, but he does such a good job of igniting downhill. It's just going downhill. So I do think they're resilient, but I don't know that Coach Ham's ever had a team in 31 years that wouldn't be an adjective that you would use to describe. That's his program.
But you got senior night on Friday. Any chance Justin gets to play this?
I don't know.
Was that first half? Was that pretty much? Did you execute kind of the defensive game plan to a T in that first half tonight?
Yeah, I think they had 29 possessions in the first half. And I think they got a box touch 8 times. They got to the paint 43% of their possessions tonight. But I thought we were much better as far as our execution defensively and offensively for that matter. Our turnover rate was too high in the second half. It wasn't, in my opinion. I know he thinks that it is, and that he's right to say that, but I thought our turnover rate was too high in the second half. We had a low turnover rate. It's trying to manufacture baskets. The last 25 minutes of the game we had 10. The first 20 we had 4. So I think it's maybe both things.
Last question for Coach.
Coach, you talked about the challenges presented by 25 Calvin Jelly. Was that your game plan coming in to kind of double him and force him to pass out?
No. We call a trap, the post, we call it monster. And depending upon where the ball is and depending upon who threw the ball, depends on if the monster, we say on or off. Is it on or off? So it's not specific to 25. But I do think that he's a hard guard because your tendency is, man, we got to get it out of his hands. I think, I think they're setting, to your question, I think they set a lot more ball screens than ever before. And so 25 is different than 21. 21's always going to roll. But then they're doing different things when 25's setting the ball screen because not only can he roll, but he also can pop. And so their spacing changes based on who's setting the ball screen.
Do you think fatigue is an issue overtime for you guys shooting?
No, sir. I mean, we've played 7 guys the last 9 games. I mean, it is the first time we've went into overtime. But I think it's just the accumulation of their pressure, the accumulation of their depth, the accumulation of their length, their resilience. But I don't think that we were tired.
Thank you, Coach.